Let's bring Jim and David back. And Jim, I'll just start with you and get your response to this idea of buyer's remorse, perhaps, among union workers.
Well, I don't think there's any evidence of that. I think that the policies of the administration at this point are intended to be pro-worker. The no taxes on tips, for example, was a strong message out there to working men and women out there who are working for a living with tips that they're going to be taken into consideration. I think working men and women in the country are very, very clear that the loss of jobs to overseas activities and overseas jobs and overseas businesses has been dramatic over the last number of years. They know that. So the labor policy, I think, of the Trump administration. Look, I don't need to be a defender of each and every layoff that this president has done, even in the name of efficiency. But I do believe that the general direction that Trump has been putting forward is persuasive to workers, and that's why they voted for him. And I don't see any. I think this buyer's remorse stuff is just made up stuff.
So, David, I want to get your thought on that as well. First of all, Jim talking about, no tax on tips. Axios has been reporting about the jobs that qualify for tax deductions on tips, and there are dozens of jobs here, from bartenders to, disc jockeys to private event planners. So that will be popular with many of these workers. And also, the White House is saying this administration is a jobs-creating machine, pointing out the number of jobs. They have said that President Trump has created 500,000 new jobs since he took office. What do you think of that?
Well, they're saying one thing, but when we look at something like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which we've depended on since the Great Depression here in the United States and the rest of the world has depended on to tell us those job numbers, they tell us the exact opposite, that, well, we're obviously not creating jobs in the private sector or the public sector, and that's extremely problematic. Is the rhetoric good coming out of the White House? Yes. But does it meet the reality? No. The buyer's remorse is tremendous. Look, Donald Trump promised a lot on the campaign trail. I mean, he promised to end the Russian-Ukraine conflict in a day. I guess he didn't say what day that was going to be. But the list goes on. And we could talk about the no tax on tips. There's a lot of red tape around that policy if you look very closely. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of waiters and servers and busboys across the country that are going to fall into problems because they didn't hire an accountant to do their taxes and file it appropriately. The same goes with overtime. He promised no taxes on overtime. Well, you've got to read the real fine print there. I mean, I feel like I'm dealing with the cheesiest used car salesman in the country because Donald Trump talks about one thing. You got the nice headline, but you really got to read the fine print in terms of, okay, what job, what industry am I in? What is the income that I make? All of that is now defined in the policy that has moved forward. But I can't find a single policy that is pro-worker. You talk about the big, beautiful bill, his achievement, his accomplishment, and all it is red tape for the people that need it the most and less of the red tape for the highest corporate interests. And hey, is that good on one side? Okay, we can make it easier to do business in the United States. Absolutely. But we also have to make it easy for people to file for unemployment or for their social safety net benefits, where now experts are predicting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will lose the benefits that they depend on. The backbone of our country, some of our most vulnerable residents in society will now be more vulnerable because of the policies of Donald Trump. And we don't have anything to show for it, except for lip service.
OK, let's let Jim respond to that, because I think he wants to.
Yeah, I sort of do. We can reform all of our tax forms. That's okay with me. But the main point is this. Let's take, for example, the tariff proposals. This is something entirely new that President Trump has put into place. So we can argue about in international relations whether that's a good idea or not. But the point is, his message is, we're going to do something to protect American jobs. And that's why he's put together the tariff programs. Workers across the United States see that. They understand that action affirmatively is being taken in order to try to preserve American jobs. So, these are the general directions that I think that we're talking about here, that we're going. And by the way, just because a union stands up and says they're for workers, I think many millions of workers in the United States don't think that their interests coincide with the establishment force of the unions. And that's why I think more and more unions are losing their members, not because of something outside, but because they're not necessarily seeing them as representative of their interests.
Okay, really interesting discussion, especially on Labor Day. Thank you both for those thoughts. We're going to talk a bit more about international relations.